Hello and welcome to our review of The Club for the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. Now, although The Club is technically a shooter, it plays almost like a mix between a shooter and a racing game, which is kind of a weird mix, but makes sense when you realize that the creators of the game are bizarre creations who are best known for their Project Gotham series of games for the Xbox and Xbox 360. The reason I say this is not only does the game involve trying to beat time and score marks, but also because it involves taking laps around a course, much like a lot of different racing games that are currently out there right now. Although most racing games don't involve you blowing the brains out of different cars or different car drivers, but this racing game has you piloting a psychopathic mercenary type guy who is in love with the thrill of hunting other people or something like that. So when you first start out the game, you basically get to choose your character, and there's a few different characters that I won't worry too much about it because they all really play the same. And after getting introduced to this creep, the secretary, who's basically the voice behind the entire game, they'll give you a brief tutorial about how you're going to score in the game and how, you go from one place to another, shoot guys, get points, blah blah blah. It's all pretty basic. Once you do that, it's all just off to the races, as it were. The first time you go through, not every time you have a time limit, but you try and get combos by killing different people in series and pulling off maneuvers and killing them uniquely. Headshots get extra points, grenades get more points, killing two people at once get different points, and basically there's kind of circuits, kind of like racing games. So there's like the prison circuit, and this is the Venice circuit right here. So in the circuit, you have the basic gameplay where you just go around and shooting people and getting combos and trying to get to the exit. And then there's this where basically it's kind of like it's like a fortress that you're trying to defend. And if you leave the fortress, you'll blow up, or these guys can also kill you when you're in your fortress. And although these events have different objectives, they pretty much play the same. Either way, you're basically just running around in either a small confined space or a level, trying to kill people, trying to get combos, trying to get points before either the time runs out or they kill you, or you get to the exit. So, there's not a lot of variety, and it's funny to see what happens if you run out of time in this mode. For instance, you're just running, and all of a sudden, no more time, boom! Explosion. Your chest explodes, you gotta start over. And there's this other time attack mode, which is a little more forgiving, where basically all these, every time you shoot a guy or pick up one of those clocks that you see off there, you get 3 more seconds added on. And this is the event that feels most like a racing game because there's an actual track or lap that you're going on. And you can see it there. It's the second lap you're going on. So you basically run around in a circle. More and more of the same looking guys come out, and you just keep shooting them and do laps and try and get points. And that's about it. And that's the problem with the game. Not only are the levels more repetitive and kind of boring, but all the different characters that you can choose from. Really, I didn't really notice the difference between them. They say they have different strengths and weaknesses, but I really didn't notice any differences. I mean, one might be a little faster than another one, or a little slower, but not a whole lot there. The game is also online enabled, and here's one of the online modes, basically, which is just a deathmatch, every man for himself. Just kill as many people as you can, and the game, it can be a little fun online, but I'd say my main problem is that the aim is not very good in the single-player mode, let alone the online mode. So unless you're really good at getting headshots, you're going to get your ass kicked most of the time. And there are different modes. I mean, it's not just limited to deathmatch. There's some scoring modes that try and basically bring the combos of the other game, of the single-player game, over into online mode. But it doesn't really work very well because the levels are kind of sparse, are so big, and the people that you're playing with are so sparse that you really can't get a combo going because everyone's just running every way trying to, kill different people, and you rarely run into enough people to get a combo going without dying. I mean, I'm sure you probably could, but you have to be very good at the game and spend a lot of time on it, both of which I really didn't feel like doing because I wasn't that impressed with it. So overall, I'd say the club is not bad, it's not great, it's mediocre. It can be a fun game in spurts, and it offers a decent online component, but the single player is pretty lame, and the graphics are pretty bland, enemies are pretty repetitive, the environments are kind of similar. It just seems like, kind of a bargain bin type of game, in all honesty. So the $60 that you got to shell out for the Club seems a little bit steep for me right now. But if you really want something different in a shooting game, you might want to give the Club a try. Otherwise, move on to other things. Either way, thanks for listening to our review.